crafty friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm playing with a couple of techniques and I will have printables for free on my blog at stampingimperfection.com. Across the top of my blog there is a tab that says 2024-2025 techniques. And if you click that tab, it will take you to a page with all of my technique videos and all of the printables, so you can grab the ones that you want. So I am playing with a technique that I just learned, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Another demonstrator, Linda Dalkey, shared this with us, and I really like it. So I'm excited about it, and I'm excited too because she used it with a couple of different die sets, and she used it with the beautiful butterflies. So this is the die that she used, this big one that coordinates with the embossing folder, because there's a hybrid embossing folder that goes with it. This is one of the dies you can use in the hybrid embossing folder. So I went ahead and die cut that out. Now, the good thing about this is until the end of February, while supplies last, since it's celebration, this is one of the things you can get for free. For every $60 you spend, you get to choose a free item, and this is one of them. This is the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set, and it coordinates with the Beautiful Butterflies dies, and you can see there's a lot of dies here, and it's a gorgeous stamp set and die set. There's so much you can do with it. I've got a couple other videos where I've used it on projects. I've got a lot of things on my blog you can see. I just really like this set. I've used it so much in the last 2 months, and I'm really excited about it. So let me show you this technique. So you'll need a piece of cardstock. I cut this at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'll probably trim it down. I usually trim things like that down, and I'm using this part. This part can be saved for another project, so I'm going to actually tuck that into my die envelope or my stamp set envelope, and I'm going to use this. Now the other thing she used was her Stampin' Spots, and I only have 4 Stampin' Spots here today, so I pulled out what few little ink cubes I do have. I have a whole bunch of distress ink cubes, and you can see I've never even used, this is the only one that's open, so I've never even used these. I'm not even going to bother pulling out the black one. And I got them from some virtual workshop I did, and they're very nice. I just haven't used them very much. So we're going to take this, and you can place it any way you want. I want to put it on here a couple times. That's what she showed doing, and I thought it looked fantastic. So I'm going to just kind of put this on here like this, and I'm going to pick a couple of colors. And I love Pretty Peacock, but I don't know, it might look really nice with that green. I don't know how it'll look with the greens and blues here, but I think I'll play with, definitely play with some of these colors. So I'll use what I have here. So let's start with, actually not the green, let's do the blues. And I like the, let's do these 3. I know I like this combination. Although I don't have Distress ink pads, but I do have Distress Oxide ink pads, and I know I like these colors. Oops, that's already open. What am I doing? All right, so I'm just going to open this. All right, now I don't have a lot of ink cubes from other places. I do have a lot of ink cubes from Stampin' Up. I have quite a few Stampin' Spots. I have quite a collection of colors. I just don't have them with me because I'm traveling here, and so I really like these little ink cubes. Now the Stampin' Up, and I have never opened these because I have the full-size pads, so I tend to use those more. And you just have to like take your scissors and kind of slice the paper, because they are sealed closed so they don't dry out on you. So I slice it right along the seam there. You can open it up, and these little ink, they're called Stampin' Spots from Stampin' Up. And there are a lot of techniques you can do with these. It's remarkable what you can do with these little square ink pads. And in fact, instead of 2 techniques today, I'm going to show you 3 techniques, because I'm going to show you one quick and simple one that I just saw on Instagram that I thought was very clever. So I'll show you that with these little ink cubes. Now, you can only purchase a handful of colors of these. There's a set of 8 or 10 like go-to colors. So you get kind of one in each color family that you can purchase, but you can purchase little ink pads, like these little Stampin' Spots that have no ink in them. So you can purchase empty ones and then add whatever colors you have. So if you have re-inkers, you can actually make little ink cubes yourself, and you'll just need to label them. So either with a label maker or a Sharpie marker or something like that. Okay, so here's how this works. And I am going to tape, she really did not tape hers down at all, and I have to tell you, I am not, I'm a bit more of a klutz than she is, apparently, because I watched her do it, and I thought I would be taping that down. I don't think I could hold it that steady. The other thing I could do is I have a magnet here and put this down, but I took my metal sheet out from below that. So I'm going to start with I think I'll start with the blue one. And she took this, and then she just swiped it across like this. And since these are felt pads, and she did it in a couple different directions, like that, since these are felt pads, instead of foam like the larger ones, you actually get this really great dragging look. And I actually really do like the look of this. Like if you like a distressed look, and then she took other colors and went in like different directions, and she went back and forth in both directions, which I thought was interesting. It just made it look more interesting. Like in the end, hers ended up looking like tartan. Now, one thing I do want to point out is I do have a little of this blue on here. The Distress inks I don't think dry as quickly as are these dye inks? These are dye inks, so they should dry just as quickly as the others. And I'm going to add a little bit of the yellow, because I like the mustard seed on everything. It's like a cross between, it's like crushed curry, actually. If you have crushed curry ink, that's what this is like. But I don't happen to have a crushed curry ink cube, or Stampin' Spot. There we go. So when you take this off, you get a really interesting look. Here we go. Looking for my rag so I can clean this up, or I'm going to end up with it all over myself. So there's that. Okay, now you can do it in, different color combinations, and let's try, she did like blues and greens, and she used peacock was one of the colors that she used. Peacock, pool party, and I can't remember what the third one was. I actually think she added peacock, pool party, and then she did peacock, pool party, and she did either daffodil delight or crushed curry, one of the yellows. And now where I get my Stampin' Spots, I subscribe to Paper Pumpkin. And Paper Pumpkin, you get a different Stampin' Spot color every month, which is actually really nice. So I'm going to add a second one here, and I am going to tape it down here so it holds both of the papers like that. So let's try doing the blues and the greens, because that was actually a really pretty combination that she did. Let's try this green. And at one point, one of the ones she did looked like tartan. It was beautiful. And I think going in the different directions really does fill it in. This is where she put the yellow in. And I'm probably getting other colors on this, but you can wipe it off. And I do have I have a second mustard one, so that's why I'm not too concerned about it. Just like that. I think it's just a really fun technique. So, especially if you have a collection of small ink cubes, like, you know, collect the techniques that you can do with the small cubes because they're pretty fabulous. All right, so she didn't mix and match different colors like this. Like, she did a couple of them with the same color combination. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Butterflies come in all different colors. I kind of love this rainbowy one. I think it's actually fun. Then she zhuzhed hers up with elements of text. I don't know if you have this, but it's pretty fantastic. And she used this one. And I don't, to be honest, I don't remember what colors she used. I think I want it to go like this. It does have an upside and downside because you can read some of the words here. And I like, when I use the text ones, I like to use crumb cake. Sometimes I stamp them off. I don't think I'll do that today, but you can go ahead and add some of this on your project, and just like that, add a few of those, and then I grab some, I say pecan pie, you can say pecan pie. Nobody where I grew up says pecan, so I don't say pecan, I say pecan. That is definitely a regional thing. So I'm going to add some of this. And I love splatter stamps. Like, I feel like they add so much character to a page. Like, that just adds so much character when you do that. And I do need a nice sentiment here. So I want to add a sentiment, and then I will turn it into a card. I'm just going to pull out this. I love this stamp set, Simply Said. It's wonderful. If they retire this, I hope they have something to go in its place. My favorite stamp of all is Just a Note. I also love Hello, and I'm just going to put this in here, and I am going to pull out my black ink pad. Okay, so I'm going to ink this up. There we go. There we go, Just a Note. So I've got a little card, and I'm going to turn it into a note card now. So I'm going to trim this down to 4 by 5 1/4, and I'll trim probably 1/8 off each side. So I'll just go around my card and trim 1/8 inch off. I think I'm going to pull out Blueberry Bushel cardstock because lately that has been my new favorite. I cut this down to, so I did 5 1/4, so I'm going to do 5 3/8 for this mat. And then I did 4, so I'm going to do 4 1/8 for this mat. All right, I try really hard. Like I used to be an uber perfectionist, and boy, it really limits you when you're a perfectionist because it's hard to get things done and it's hard to be satisfied with them. So I'm putting this down, and I use the liquid glue so I can wiggle it around because it really does bother me when the layers are not strict or even. The borders are not even. It super bothers me. Okay, that looks pretty good. Probably not perfect. I'm gonna let it go. And I just thought this was such a fun technique. Just like that. Now I did a couple different color combinations on here because I just wanted to try it, and I will be making a card that will fit inside my my technique album, and I will have the printable all ready for you on my blog. Okay, so there's that. I do want to add some embellishments. You could add some twine if you wanted to. Twine might look really nice. I love this technique. It's one of my favorite parts about being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator is how much other demonstrators share with us so we can all learn new things. And it's like one of the big things with Stampin' Up! Is, you know, they share so much so that you can learn things and teach it to your customers and inspire other people. I love that. I love that I have resources. I've been doing this for a long time. I know a lot of techniques. I love learning new techniques. So it's super fun at this point to be able to find a technique that I haven't done before. So I'm excited about that. So I'm going to pull this down a little bit. Just like that. And then I have these sorry about that. My battery died. I got a new camera and the battery doesn't last as long on this one. So I've got these neutral matte dots. I actually like these. They're pretty low profile. There's white, and that's either black or early espresso. I am not sure. It doesn't tell on the back of the... Then there's beige, and this looks like pecan pie to me. So I want the pecan pie one since that's what I used in the background there. So I thought I would add a few of these just for fun. Let's see if I can grab this guy. I think I'm going to have to grab this guy with this end. There we go. And I think I'm going to put the other one down here just like that, just to add a little interest. So I love that. Absolutely love it. I think that is a super fun technique. And I'm not sure what she called it, masking and swiping, I think, because basically you create a mask, you use the negative part of the die cut, the part that you would just throw away normally, and then you swipe the ink pads across it, and I like it. And it probably would work with the larger ink pads too. I think it just would be messier. So I liked using it with the smaller ones, but I love the end result. And I'm definitely going to share that so that Linda can see it and love it. Absolutely love it. All right, let's talk about the next technique. A quick technique that you can use your ink cubes for. And I'm going to put these away because I certainly can use these colors. I don't know if these actually go together. Maybe these do. We can try it. It doesn't matter. I'll send the card to my mom if it's not perfect. She will like it. All right, so let's start with this one since it's already open. So you might have seen this. So you're just going to plunk these down a few times. Let me see if I can get the bottom half of this a little better, maybe. And let's do a couple of the pecan or the peacock ones. All right, so I'm just using the edge of my paper snips to just slice along, which is not as easy as it seems like it should be. Slice along the edge there. There we go. I'm going to do some of these. Oops, this one really is. I'm going to put it down and give it a little wiggle. I mean, I did just open these, so they should be pretty inky. And let's try the red. I don't know about the red. Let's try the Blackberry Bliss. Ugh. There we go. Okay, this one is Blackberry Bliss, so this is a deep color. Maybe one there. And you could add, you know, whatever colors you have. I only have the 4, so I'm just going to do these 3. Okay, I'm going to wipe up my mess here. Okay, and I definitely think this needs more color, but for now I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to pull out my Stampin' Write marker, and I've got the bullet tip here, and then I'm just going to draw a couple of lines there, and then what looks like a bow, and I'm going to do that to all of these. Put a couple of tails, and they're going to be hard to see, so I'll hold this up in just a minute. And that same Simply Said stamp set has a birthday, a happy birthday stamp. I'm going to use the stamp. I have nice handwriting, but I don't know that it's card worthy. So I saw this on Instagram. I have no idea who shared it. It was not a Stampin' Up! Person. And I'll just put that down there like that. That's pretty fun. Oops, I missed one. You can fill your space in a little better than I did. So I'm going to pull out there's a happy birthday, and then there's the birthday wishes. And I love the font on the birthday wishes, so I'm going to pull that out and grab a block. And I'm going to put it in the bare space, which isn't necessarily, it's not in the center so much. I'll try to sort of center it, but actually maybe I'll put it down here. Maybe I'll add some red presents in the middle, just like this. There we go, birthday wishes, like that. And again, I'll trim this down, put a mat around it. I'll add some pretty, let's see, some pretty dots or sequins. Oh, here's a sneak peek of some sequins. These are the Starburst sequins. They're very pretty. And they are coming out in March. They're going to be an online exclusive. And I like this color. There's 2 different sizes of each color. So I'm going to add this. And I do wish I'd put some, I still can put some dots. So I'll add this. And then I'm going to take that stamp from the text one, and I'm going to clean it off. Because my card needs a little something more. Okay, and I'm going to add this splatter in a couple of spots, like this empty center, and it needs something going off the side there, and maybe something going off this side. There we go. You can put, you could put as much of that as you want on there. I think that I'm not going to do too much. Too much of a good thing, you know how that goes. All right, so I'm going to trim this down, add a mat, and I'll share the card with you. And this is Petunia Pop, so I think I might use a Petunia Pop mat on this. It's a weird color combination, but I don't hate it. So again, I'm going to take, let's see, a quarter would take. Take a quarter off that side and a quarter off the top. There we go. Just like that. Okay, so this is going to be my card all done. How quick and easy was that, friends? A splatter stamp was the only stamping that I did besides my sentiment. I've just got 3 little pretty, aren't those sequins pretty? They just have a little starburst detail, and I used a journaling pen to complete it, so that was pretty fun. And the presents don't have to be perfect. Like, they just don't have to be. I don't even have colors that I would ordinarily put together, but I'm okay with that card. So there you go. Go ahead and give that a try and see how quick and easy that was. And to whoever shared that on Instagram, thank you. That was a fun technique. All right, so for my last technique, I still am using the elements of text. I've cut down 2 pieces of paper. This is the crumb cake, is 3 3/4 by 5, and this one is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. So I'll just get a little peek of that crumb cake around there, which is all I really want. And I've got my card base. This one is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Okay, so I want to start with the card base, and I decided that I would like to just do a little basic beige stuff. So I pulled one of the other elements of text stamps and turn it right side up. I want to just stamp a little bit around the edges, kind of off the page, you know, just a little bit like that. And then I want to add some of the splatter. There we go, and maybe a little bit more text down here, and a little bit more up here. There we go. So I've got a reasonable background there, maybe a bit more of the dots up here. So I've got a little background that I can use. And this sort of looks a little green when you stamp it at first. it does fade, so that's nice. And I was excited when they came out with that beige. So I'm going to go ahead and actually I think I might want to put some twine on this one. I was going to say I'll put this down, but I want to do the painter's tape technique. I haven't done it in ages, and I think it's a really fun technique. So I'm going to start with this yellow color. This is Lemon Lally, and I'm just going to rip some painter's tape off here. Like so. And I'm going to rub my finger across it. And I'm putting the sticky side down. Just like that. And then I'm going to transfer it to my paper. And it just peels right up. I'm going to put this aside and wipe up the excess. I'll leave this open because I'll probably use it again. Now I also pulled out some Calypso Coral, so let's open that. And one of the things I like, I added one of the stickers on the back of the ink pad to the inside space there, and I love that detail because now I know which one of these pads is which. I mean, these two are obvious, but it's not always obvious. Like, it really isn't. So again, I'm going to do the sticky side down, and I have to do it twice because I made the panel wider than my ink pad. So a really convenient thing to do is just to make it the same, make whatever you're doing this to the same width as your ink pad, and that works out nicely. And then I'll do one above it. You can do any design you want. You can leave spaces between them. You can overlap. Whatever works for you, you can do. So again, I am going to clean up around this. And I doubt I'll use this one again, so I'm just going to close that up. And then I pulled out Balmy Blue. So I'll take another piece of that masking tape and put this down. And I'm just trying not to stick my finger in my ink pad. There you go. And then I'm going to do this down here. And then I'll do it again above. And then I'll go back to the yellow. There we go. That Calypso Coral is so dark and bold. It's always seems like such a light color when I'm thinking about it, but then when I go to use it, all right, I'm going to get rid of that piece of tape. I'm going to go back and add yellow to the last few spots there, and I'm going to clean up the orange tape. I'm just going to fold it in half, so hopefully I'm not getting this all over my hands. But look, somehow I'm still managing to make a mess. I love this glass board that Stampin' Up! Sells. It comes with a silicone mat and a chamois, so you know, it's actually pretty great. So I'm going to do the yellow. And I'll just do it down here. And then I'm going to do it one more time at the top. And I can get rid of this tape and close my ink pad and clean up my mess. And then I can put my card together. Okay. So let's get this centered. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I am going to put this directly down. I'm going to put my twine and my ribbon underneath the flower. And I have this flower already made, so I think I'm going to use that one. And how I'm going to do my ribbon is I'm going to pull out some glue dots. I'm going to stick a couple of glue dots to the back, and then I'll pull out my twine, and I'm just going to kind of run my twine through my glue dot, just like that. There, and then I'm going to just cut this off. And I want to add some ribbon on top of this. So I've got this peachy ribbon, and I think maybe this will knock that Calypso coral back a little bit if I use this. So I'm going to add some of this, and again I'm just using some glue dots. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So I went ahead and finished off this card with a floral from the Mixed Media Florals bundle that I already had. I used some of this peach ribbon, and it's not called peach, I don't think. It is petal pink, actually. It looks very peach. And it is their scalloped ribbon. It's very pretty. I believe it goes with the Storybook collection. And I did pop my floral up. I do have some twine in there. I popped my floral up on dimensionals. This side of my sentiment is popped up on dimensionals, and this sentiment is from Simply Said. And I added 3 of these really pretty little embellishments. These are part of the Sunny Day iridescent dots. I like the way they kind of the ribbon and those dots kind of tone down that Calypso coral a little. That was a really bright choice on my part. I probably should have picked some petal pink there instead, but I actually really like the way the card came out, and I like the little crumb cake detail on that card base too. I don't know how well you can see that, but isn't this a pretty technique though? You've got stripes, but they're very distressed looking, and I actually love that. So I really like all of these techniques. I haven't done this one in a really long time. This one was new to me and I love it. I will definitely be doing this again. I think it looks fantastic. And I thought this was a really fun, this was like a reel on Instagram or Facebook, I don't remember, that someone did, and that's another technique that another little technique that I hadn't thought about doing. I have used the ink cubes, and specifically my Distress Oxide inks, which are square, just to squish and make squares directly on my cardstock for and then I stamped something in black ink over the top, and I really like that look. But I love being able to use the journaling pen and just making them look like packages. That took me almost no time to make, so that was a pretty easy card. And the same with this. This was a pretty easy card, and so was this. This one was the messiest. This one was a little messy. This one wasn't messy at all, really. So I like them all. So you can find that printable at stampingimperfection.com. And if you're interested in purchasing some of these supplies, you can do that at shopwithkim.net. I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and click the bell to get notifications every time I upload a new video. So there you go. The supply list will be in the information below the video, as will the links. And I thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a really great day.